No. Let's try something else. Hit it, Joe.
Three idiots sharing memories with fans who watched the show. It's the best of both our worlds.
Welcome to Best of Both Our Worlds, the official, unofficial Hannah Montana podcast, the show where three idiots share our stories and our memories with the fans so they get a chance to see the other side of the best damn Disney show ever. I am one of the hosts, Jason Earles. I play Jackson Rod Stewart. My favorite part of this whole thing.
I'm so glad you could maintain your contractually obligated way of saying that.
Thank you. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, clowns.
I am Shannon Flynn. I was a director on Hannah Montana and the acting coach.
I am Douglas Danger Lieblein. I was one of the writers and the co-executive producer.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, you were. I'm very excited. We're starting to get into the episodes where I feel like the show really sort of rounds into form, where it like starts getting good.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about the next couple of weeks. But before we do, minor fit check. I notice you've got cheese jerky on today.
Cheese jerky.
Classic.
And
then, so I'll explain my.
Under here, I have my famous. I'm about to cry shirt.
All right, well, pull it so people can read it if anybody's actually watching this on YouTube. All right, that's fine. I'm about
people
to
love this shirt.
Fantastic.
Who doesn't?
So I'm actually, because in honor of the fact that we're three idiots, and my favorite K-pop group is Stray Kids. You guys learned
Stray Kids.
I'm wearing my three Racha T-shirt.
All right.
These are like the three main dudes of Stray Kids. They write, they produce. They're gods among boys.
Which one's Felix?
Not Felix isn't in Three Racha. He's
What?
not part of that stuff.
How is that possible?
But hey, kudos for knowing who Felix is. That makes me very happy.
I seem to recall that we discussed Felix on a previous episode of this podcast.
Because Felix is my boy.
That is.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with what we always start with. We got a little sweet niblets here at the top. Shannon, what's your little nibbly?
Here it is. This particular episode that we'll be discussing is called "It's My Party and I'll Lie If I Want to." It aired on April 21st. The writer of this episode was our very own Doug. Wasn't yet called Danger for a middle name.
That's right.
Lieblein.
That's true.
And the director was the wonderful Roger Christensen.
A mainstay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Main notable cast. This was Romy Dames' first episode as Tracy, and there's also another notable cast member that we will discuss later.
That's right.
And if you can figure out what the in the opening title of Hannah Montana, if you know from this episode what bits were used in the opening
sequence,
please put them in the comments.
That is one of my favorite little Easter egg hunts
I know.
in the show.
And It's My Party was based on the It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want To song by Leslie Gore, 1963.
1963. A lot of old people in that writer's room.
Yeah.
Turning back the time. Yeah. That's right. Snoop Dogg was actually one of the young ones, which is like crazy if you...
I know.
So for my sweet little niblet for this one, it's actually more of a bit of a factoid, behind-the-scenes factoid, as opposed to a trivia question. This episode actually has two firsts for the audience. Even though we shot it out of order, and there's some weird stuff with that. But like we have two firsts. The first one is we see Rico for the first time.
Yeah.
The second thing that we see in this episode for the first time is somebody fly over the back of the berm
That's
on the beach.
true.
So like if you remember that set, it's the beach, it's the surf shack, and you go up the hill and the ocean's on the other side, and there's a big drop off. And in this one, Oliver 2 times ends up flying over the back of the berm. Now the reason I bring this up is because it combined two of my favorite things on the show. So Mitchell Musso and I used to play this game that I have dubbed Toss the Rico, which basically involved anytime we could, we would literally grab Moises, pick him up over our heads like John Cena, walk up the berm, and chuck him off the backside. And our favorite time to do that was for network run-throughs when the Disney executives were like, what the are you guys doing?
Right.
But we would literally pick poor little Moises up and we would chuck him across the set.
It should be noted for the record, there was a crash pad.
a giant crash.
A
It was
giant
like a
crash
4-foot
pad
crash pad.
that one of our crew members used to sleep on all the time. If you couldn't find him, I won't say who,
Yeah.
but if you couldn't find him, just go look on the crash pad and you would find him.
So that actually was the risk, though. Like, we could sometimes throw Moises back there, and he might land on a crew member taking a nap on the crash pad.
I will say this was also
Never happened.
before some laws had changed
Yeah.
in children's television, and we would have prevented you now from doing it.
Nah, we would have done it
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no stopping Toss the Rico.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so we have our wonderful our special little secret title for the episode. Dougie, what
For
what
our
we got?
episode.
For our episode, the episode of this podcast is called "Would You Like Some Brie with That?"
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yes. The
Yes,
answer is
absolutely.
always.
It's
yes.
absolutely
Always
yes.
yes.
100%. Yes.
Okay, so refresh us, remind us, what is the synopsis of this
I will
episode?
reflock.
What actually happened in this one?
reflock everybody.
Reflock?
Reflock it.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't watched recently, I will reflock your memories. When Hannah's friend Tracy invites her to Kelly Clarkson's birthday party, Lily overhears and is super excited for Lola to hang with the A-listers at a big, swanky Hollywood party. Miley, on the other hand, is noticeably less excited. Fearing Lily will embarrass her in front of her celebrity friends, Miley lies to Lily and tells her the party is canceled. Oof. Yeah. So when paparazzi snaps a picture of her at the party, then refuses not to sell it, Miley, as Hannah, attacks him to get the pic. Which, of course, makes a huge scene and lands Hannah on the cover of the entertainment section of the newspaper. The newspaper kids.
It was paper where they used to write stories.
Yeah,
And in ink.
Yeah, it's like a paper version of your phone. Miley spends the whole next day trying to keep Lily from seeing the paper, but ultimately, Lily discovers the truth, and Miley is forced to admit she lied and went to the party because she was afraid Lola would embarrass her.
Yeah, she would have too.
Yeah.
We know that.
Miley admits the party wasn't fun without her best friend and promises to take her to the next one. Meanwhile,
Back at stately Wayne Manor.
Jackson meets a beautician on the beach and lets her practice on his hair. But when she accidentally shaves his head, Jackson realizes his completely unestablished arch nemesis Rico was behind the whole thing.
Outstanding. Excellent recap. Did anybody notice that Doug reads the synopsis the same way that like white people sing happy birthday? Like half tempo, kind of half-hearted, as if he's like being
Like an
punished for
Office
something.
Space when they were singing Happy Birthday. It's the most fun.
Are you
Good
saying
job.
it's torture?
No, it's
No.
great. It's great.
It's great.
It's
It is great. I
great.
wouldn't change a thing.
People's
Not a
memories
word.
needed to be reflocked.
I know. We've been purposefully reflocked.
Indeed.
And Doug, where did this episode come from? This is actually you have a treat for us. Right?
I do have a little
Yeah,
treat.
yeah.
Where the episode came from was we were trying to think of, if you remember in previous podcast episodes, we talked about taking old sitcom tropes and trying to Hannify them.
Yeah.
This was a little different. We tried to take a kid issue and try to Hannify it, something that our audience could relate to. The idea that you were invited to a party and your friend wasn't, or that you didn't want to bring your friends somewhere because you thought they'd embarrass you. How do we Hannify that situation? And I have a little special treat for everyone today because I found this is the original outline for this episode.
For those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, he actually has the old school outline of the real episode. Big
Right.
On paper.
On paper, printed out in
With
the
a
whole
clip.
Yeah.
With a clip, because we clip things. So now, for those of you who, some of you know, and some of you don't, that we write outlines before we write scripts so we could see the thing on paper and make some changes. So there's some significant changes that we made, and it's kind of fun to go back and see where things started, what things were before we made changes. So I thought I'd take you through a little journey of what the original outline for this episode was.
Some of this stuff is crazy. Like,
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was sort of like perusing it, I was like, this is a completely different
Oh,
monster.
Well,
So-
you have to remember this outline, I believe it was the first outline turned in. This one was written before Oliver knew the secret, before we had hired Rico.
Dang.
It is dated October 6, 2005. This is 2 weeks after we started the writers' room. So it's pretty OG.
And also before we started shooting.
Oh,
so
yes. So
you
we
should-
had not shot,
Not
and
a
we didn't shoot
single-
for 6 more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a pretty OG incarnation of him.
Yeah.
So in the outline, I wanted to go through, point out some of the differences. The first difference is that Lily's alter ego wasn't Lola yet. We hadn't landed on that.
Lola Luftnagel.
It was Kira, the secret heir to the throne of France. I have no idea why.
That's like the biggest swing in the world. Like, we're gonna
That
create a
was-
secret identity, and you're like literally.
So Emily was going to be like some made up Kira, the secret.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, and it didn't
wow.
make. And we obviously changed it for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing in this outline is that Oliver didn't know the secret yet.
Right.
So Oliver in this outline was in that opening scene backstage, sneaking backstage, trying to get close to Hannah.
Her hair, her beautiful hair.
Side note-
Wash and comb your beautiful hair.
You're creeping me out.
I know, dude.
I mean, that's the way
I'm
it
glad
feels
that
inside.
I'm really glad that did not become an ongoing runner
you,
for the
God.
show.
Well, you know why? I realized in my sleep the other night why we did the hair bit. Because we tried, remember we were trying to do, why does he love Hannah but not Miley?
Yeah.
And the wig, the hair. Now when she's Miley, she doesn't have the hair.
That's.
It,
I don't know
it
if
was a
that's-
swing and a miss, but
yeah, I don't know
it
if
was,
that's a good reason, but. I don't, but
okay, so in this original outline, she's backstage. There's no Tracy in it.
yeah.
The story was that Lola would embarrass her backstage, and then the next day, Jesse McCartney was going to call her and invite Hannah to his birthday party. And we were hoping to get Jesse to come and guest star. And it made a little more sense that she'd want to impress this cute boy
Yeah.
star.
What was your guys' obsession with Jesse McCartney? Like, he came up a lot. Like, I know he was a
Spoiler
big deal
alert,
at the
he
time,
came
but like,
back. He did come on the
did
show
come back on the
eventually.
show.
Yeah.
Well, here's the fascinating
he was
thing.
huge though.
Yeah, he was huge and he was cute and he was a boy. And we thought about getting him here, and the network said to us, rightfully so, you guys haven't aired, you haven't shot, we don't know what you are.
Oh, we can't get him.
We can't, not that we can't
Right.
get him, but let's save our ask. Let's save it for a time when we might be a
bigger
little bit bigger.
impact.
And to their credit, we did, and we got him. So they pulled him out of this episode to add him to another, to make that ask later.
Oh, that's good. That's
But originally, it was Jesse McCartney's birthday, and she didn't want Lola to embarrass her at Jesse McCartney's birthday.
Right.
There was also, this is before Cooper. So
I love Cooper.
you had, in this outline, you had a best friend named Julio.
Like you do.
Woo, he's gone.
right.
Who I assume became Cooper.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, Rico didn't exist yet, so it wasn't this nemesis battle. It was just, how far will I go to get a girl to go out with me? That
It
was
was
the whole
really
story.
like highlighting how pathetic Jackson
Yes,
was.
exactly. Exactly.
Copy that.
There was a bit.
mean-
There was a bit in the outline that we lost, which I sort of lament, which is every time he showed up with different hair, Robbie said, "I know how to fix that," and we'll put a bag on your head.
That would have been a
and
funny
the
runner.
punchline was at the very end. Robbie looked at you when you were bald, and you go, "Don't worry, Dad, I know how to fix it." You put a bag on your head, and it was a cute little runner.
That's a
cute.
cute runner.
It never lasts. Sometimes things don't last.
This storyline ends in a much better place.
Yes.
agreed.
Oh, yes.
The
yeah.
Nemesis.
And
story.
we're gonna
Yeah.
get we're gonna
Yeah.
get to why that is. But
Yeah.
the last little change was that Robbie went to the party with her in the outline because she's 13. Why is she going to a big time Hollywood party on her own? Again, it made sense in the outline that Robbie would go with her, and then we changed it for various reasons. But
Yeah, but in real life, didn't Miley end up going to like Hollywood
yes.
parties? Like,
True, but so I thought
not in a bad way. Just but like, I mean,
see.
she
Right.
was she's world famous and she's running around doing
yeah,
lots of stuff.
doing
I would not let my 13-year-old daughter go, but
many.
Well, you don't have a 13-year-old daughter.
I wouldn't let my 13-year-old sons go. By the
Would
way,
you,
I guess
as a
I did.
13-year-old, have gone to a party like that on your own?
Not like that. I mean, a regular party, yes, but not like this swanky nightclub party.
Okay.
Do you realize we had to make
Curious-
the bouncer look tougher? We gave him a nose ring to
I-
make him look, make him look
Oh,
tough.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So good.
It's a
Yeah.
hard Hollywood
He
club.
was adorable. He like
Bro,
was like
he
all
was great.
By,
Yeah.
by at the end when he was like moved by like Miley being a good.
nothing
That was
to do
real.
with it.
I thought that was cute. Okay, so Shani, now that we've seen sort of the genesis of this episode, was there anything?
No,
else
that's
about-
good. That's it. Yeah.
Love it.
I love the original outline. What sort of stood out to you?
It's really fun to watch these things to see how the evolution of the level of acting that they
Yeah.
had too,
Yeah.
and like the tidbits that are there that we all knew were going to be there. This kind of Lucy and Ethel kind of. If for those of you who don't know, that was from I Love Lucy, one of the best comedic female duos ever.
Ever.
As a side note, we did a lot of Miley's mannerisms. We tried to model her after Lucy. Lucy sees a spider.
Yeah.
Is the term for. And Miley did that sort of naturally. So
great.
we went into it.
So I noticed that there were things like Brandy Cyrus is in the background there. Like
Yeah.
she's the one
Miley's
touching
sister.
Miley's hair.
Yep.
And that was amazing. And also, of course, Steve Peterman throwing his son, Will, in the background.
Steve Peterman, who was the showrunner, the executive producer of the show.
It was, and
That was actually one of my favorite things about the show. The fact that like we would sort of work in family members or friends, or whether it was like a little background thing or like Noah, Miley's little sister, ends up being in an episode a little bit late. Like there's a lot of just like sort of cute drop-ins, which was a fun thing to be able to do.
side note, did you guys see the person who posted the Noah Cyrus run of every single time
She was in
she was in the show? If
No,
you needed
but
a bratty little kid.
Someone blink it, post it. I want to see it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny. But anyway, you know what I noticed? There was no punchline to the cold open.
Oh my God, you're opening up old wounds again.
Okay. I mean,
Okay,
it was just like she runs on
Was
stage.
there a fight over that?
There
About
was a
how
fight
the-
over it. Here's
Okay.
what happened. The punchline to the cold open was Lily following Gwen Stefani into the bathroom.
Right.
So the fight was, we have to go out on Miley. So the compromise was the vocal coaches was the punchline, but it didn't land.
Yeah.
So we just in editing went out on song because, the punchline.
Oh, was she after Emily leaves for the Gwen Stefani thing? Miley was supposed to do one more vocal thing.
Well,
and
she
then go
does.
out?
She does. She does one more, nyah, 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 and then she goes out.
Oh.
But that didn't
Such a
really
soft joke.
land.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let us go to the bathroom joke. So
it was a Disney mandate?
No.
Open?
It was a writer's room argument.
Oh, I
It
see.
was a writer's room
Gotcha.
argument.
Interesting.
And
So you end up with a soft joke.
we
and
ended up
then
with a
the-
soft joke,
Ah,
and then
okay.
how do we fix it in editing? We'll go out on the song.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, that makes sense.
yeah, it's just that when you do a cold opening normally,
Yeah,
it
normally-
like lands on some, because it's cold, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's called the cold opening. You want to land on a
gotta
big
warm
joke.
up the audience.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where were you 20 years ago to fight for me then?
I was on stage trying to
Yeah.
make
Right,
your
okay.
words sing.
All right.
Lola's wardrobe. Like, this is the first time.
yeah.
This was, and I remember the discussion around that was like, she was supposed to be like this thrift store chic,
Like
kind
she
of
was-
punk.
What is that called? That term where you take something like and you upcycle
Upcycle.
it? Upcycle
Upcycle
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I don't know that was necessarily achieved, no offense. But, and then have we talked about that concert where no one knew? We did talk about the concert where no one knew where she was. And you weren't there,
No,
Jason, but you were, Doug, right?
Yes.
Because
I
you
never-
can see it
Yes.
in that.
We were
Yeah.
at the Alex Theater before we shot. We did a concert that was the first season, the entire first season concert footage we shot ahead of the first season.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the Alex Theater in
Yeah.
Glendale. And we had to beg people to come.
Yeah,
And
it
there was
was-
no one. If you see the
They
shot, the
didn't-
crane
Didn't
shots.
beg me to come. I was not invited. I did not get to go.
Nobody likes you.
I think they're probably trying to decide whether they're going to recast me.
I was like, they was like, "Hey, what are we going to do here?
yeah.
Right, but if you'll notice the crane shots, there's like 3 rows of people.
Yeah.
And which is in stark contrast to when we did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Second.
And
year.
then like those handmade signs
Oh,
that
yeah.
were all like
Crazy.
supplied.
Just crazy.
But like, and I remember like her phone was so
Janky.
janky. and I remember there was all this chatter on this very old social media site called MySpace.
You're the oldest
And there,
person.
which also led to like Miley was on MySpace for a
Yes.
point, and
Yeah.
she wore a handmade drawn T-shirt when she deleted her MySpace. She was like, "I'm sad because I deleted MySpace, my MySpace account." But just how janky it was.
Yeah.
But,
the Hannah phone? The Hannah phone was janky?
The
Just
Hannah
prop,
phone was
yeah.
janky. The prop
It's
itself.
nice to
was
know
like,
that
it
we
just
spent
wasn't- yeah.
weeks debate, like the Hannah phone has to be special. It has to be the most special phone ever.
And it was bedazzled.
It was just a freaking bedazzled flip phone.
Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, it was.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that the show just like grew into itself. Like, as it really became like a big deal, you figured out ways to make the Hannah Montana in the show like
right. But
crazy
also
over the
we
top.
thought we had to slap stuff on when
Right.
when the core of it was solid. We didn't need to slap on fancy shit.
We didn't have to convince the audience.
Yeah,
they,
right,
They went.
like-
They went along.
Yeah.
100%.
And also we were trying to convince them that Miley / Hannah was a global superstar.
Yeah.
Right.
But by the beginning of the second season,
She
she was a
was.
global
Yeah,
superstar.
yeah.
So we didn't have to convince anybody anything.
No.
100%. I don't know. There were just some fun things, like Billy's reaction when he comes in with you having the
hair.
mohawk. Billy mastered this deadpan completely. Like it just is, just like I don't know how you didn't break, Jason.
You know,
like
you know what's amazing about Billy? I was thinking about this, like when you I was pretty good about not breaking. He's very funny, but I was pretty good about it. But I tried to break him all the time, and he was really difficult to break.
But the marshmallow bit.
Yeah,
Talk, Jason. Tell us about the marshmallow bit.
Yeah, the marshmallow bit was crazy because at the end of the first scene, I think after the cold open, I hit a marshmallow up in the air and I catch it in my mouth, and we rehearsed that all week, and I never caught it. It never worked. I could not figure out the spoon. I couldn't get the trajectory right. I think for rehearsals we tried like just tossing it and being like, no, trust us, it'll work. And I was convinced that it was going to get pulled, but when we did it in front of the live audience, I actually caught it like 2 out of 3 times, the first 2. And that look on my face of just utter like victory, and that's not Jackson. Once again, that's Jason's pride spilling through because I literally crapped the bed the entire week on that, and it wasn't until the pressure of the live audience that it actually like.
Oh, we had an entire 3 pages worth of alternate material ready to go.
If that didn't work.
Oh, what do you mean if? We knew it wasn't going to work.
Yeah,
But the satisfaction on your face.
I was thrilled that it actually worked.
kiss.
But we did. We practiced that all week, and it never, ever worked.
But thank God Roger had like a camera on you the whole time.
Yeah.
Because you only need to get it good
One time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And anyway.
That's one of my favorite bits of the whole run. One of the little nuggets that I'm the most proud of. I think.
100%. And then, like I said before, like Lucy and Ethel, especially when they were out in front of the club, and she was like, like the Lola, yeah. You know what I mean? Like that, like the back and forth where she was
banter.
like, what's your last name? You know, it was like, Luftnagel, I think. You know, all of that just was so funny. And also, last thing, shout out to hair and makeup for the bald caps because
Oh, they were good.
they looked so incredible.
We had a very large discussion about the tag. The large discussion was, you look great. Can we do this? Does he look sick in terms of moises? Because we didn't want, we want to be sensitive, but when you're that small, now, I'm sure people watching now are going to be like, oh, he looks like Egg from Dunk and Egg.
Yeah.
But back then, it was the only time you were bald like that at 10 years old is if you were sick.
It's such a great ending with you guys, like,
Yeah.
You guys laughing so hard. Like, those are the moments that I really love, too.
Yeah.
It's just how genuine it was. Like, you guys were laughing and it was just incredible. So...
I just had a thought. I want to throw this out to everybody. We can not do it or do it. Try the marshmallow bit. Try it at home. Film yourself. See if you can do it. If you do it, send it to us.
It was literally just like you had to figure out how to get the marshmallow on the spoon, prop the spoon up in a way that you could hit the tail of it and pop it up and catch it.
If you can do it.
It's shockingly challenging.
difficult. Yeah, try it. Put it on our socials.
So for me, as I was watching the episode, some of the things that like jumped out is this is like the first episode where we have a really big star in it. It just so happens that this time the star was not a big star yet.
Yes.
In the rewatch, you're like, holy crap, is that Allison Brie?
Right.
What? It is.
Yeah, she literally like I think this might be the first job that she ever booked on television.
Yeah.
And then if you don't know, she ended up on Community. They did like 5-6 seasons.
And Mad Men.
and Mad Men and Glow and a million other things. She's had an incredible career, but she was actually doing Community. We were still doing Hannah Montana by the time she had started Community, and Community had turned into like a giant show. So she was awesome to have on the show. I remember her being very, very chill.
Yes.
Sort of. Do you remember anything about sort of the way she was on the?
Yeah, I remember that she was just the coolest, and I
Yeah.
remember she worked so hard.
Yeah.
Like when you're fresh in your career, you just want to do the best job that you can possibly do, and it's all there.
Yeah.
You can see it. Like I was saving it, but like watching her turn from overacting, like where you think she's really doing this like overacting Disney kid thing.
Yeah.
And then you see this real turn.
Like, what do you do? Like, I'm
Like,
so mean
what-
to you.
I know.
Like, what,
So
like, why are you
it's-
still?
But I will say, I just want to kudos to Allison for how brave that is. Most people don't realize this is her first thing ever.
Yeah.
She's trying to prove that she's a real actress and she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And for 90% of the episode, she's bad acting. She's overacting. She's over the top.
Yeah.
And it takes guts to do that because somebody might tune out before they get to the part where they realize you're faking it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was all in on it and did it 1,000%.
Yeah.
And so when you get to that turn and you realize, oh, she's actually is a great actress. Kudos to her for being that brave.
She was so great. I remember being like really easygoing, and the big thing, the big takeaway for me is like every time I would come out with a different like hair thing,
Yeah.
we were both just like, how desperate is this guy? Like, this guy is like, what is this deal? Yeah. So Allison was a big thing. Like that's something that's immediately striking on a rewatch, like going back and checking it out. And then so speaking of the hair bits, this was before I understood TV magic at all. So like when I got the script, we usually get it like Friday night after we're done doing the live taping, so that way it doesn't mess you up for this week. And you would read it over the weekend and come in for the table read on Monday. I read that they were going to shave my head, and I was like, oh no, they're not. I was convinced that like for this one bit in this one episode, they were actually going to shave my head, and for the next 4 episodes of the show, I was going to be like bald and dealing with the after effects of like being bald, having no concept of wigs or bald caps or any of the actual TV magic of it all. So that entire weekend, I was literally just terrified that like that's.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Theater kids.
I know. Well, what's funny is like I did theater, but like for whatever reason, I took everything in these TV scripts literally.
Literally, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that was a huge thing. I will admit that this episode with Rico, like I was still trying to wrap my brain around that relationship.
Sure.
I didn't necessarily see the potential in Jackson having a 10-year-old arch nemesis, and that was going to be like what I was going to do for the whole show.
So good.
Steve Peterman, who ran the show, I remember him coming up to me and being like, hey, so in some upcoming episodes, we're going to do this. We're going to bring this kid on, Rico. He's like a 10-year-old, and he's your boss, and he's going to mess with you, and it's going to be back and forth. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. And then he left, and I was like, what? Like, what is, I don't understand. So I definitely was a little more skeptical in the beginning. And I think, like I've mentioned before, it's because I was so invested in being part of the core story. Like all the stuff with Miley felt like really meaningful, and like I wanted to be part of the family. And sometimes being in the B story with like a 10-year-old foil was like, oh, I'm being banished to the hinterlands, you know. And I was wrong. I was very wrong. I don't think I realized that you can actually.
I'm sorry. What?
I was wrong. I was very, very wrong.
Clip that.
So yeah, I was wrong because the thing I did not realize is you can develop the same relationship with the audience. You can get them to love your character just as much by being consistently funny as being the one that learns the lesson every week.
Sure.
And the consistency of me and Rico going back and forth, this feud that we had, by the time we get to the end of the series, these two dudes, you can't hate someone that much without loving them a whole lot.
100%.
Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think their relationship is equally as beautiful as Miley and Lily in the show by the end. And I did not see the potential in that at all. I thought the episode was really fun. I had fun with all the hair stuff, and I loved the idea that it was, Rico was messing with me, but I was ignorant to how good that setup actually was at this point when we were shooting the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let me see. The last sort of two things. One, Miley collecting all the newspapers to try to hide the fact that she was at the party from Lily is one of the craziest things. Like, in this day and age with social media, like, that's such a bizarre concept.
Yeah.
So I would be really
It
curious.
was a bizarre concept back then.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a little weird.
But like, I would be so curious how you would try to do that same beat now.
Oh, yeah. Doing that story again today would be fascinating.
Yeah.
To do the whole story in a social media environment would be fascinating on how
I think the entire series in the context of like today's
Yep.
quest for attention and social media
Right.
would be like, it'd be a completely different
Yeah.
experience. And then the last thing was like the paparazzi part of this like really jumps out at me. It's a little bit triggering actually, because one, the dude was so good at being like really creepy as the paparazzi, that like, and in that way, just that like the real life paparazzi were like that.
Yeah.
So like Miley as a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old having dudes sleep in their cars and camp out outside her house and follow her to work, or like if we were leaving to go grab sushi at Sushi Q down the street from the studio, and having people follow us off the lot, like it's so invasive. And I was so like angry for her that that's like what she had to deal with, that seeing the paparazzi so like in her face in the episode was actually like a little bit like PTSD triggering for me, because I hated that was part of what her experience on the show was. And I didn't even experience it. So like I can't even imagine what she had to deal with in that way. But it's still 20 years later makes me like really nuts.
And what I would say is too, and we can talk about this in future episodes, but there's a lot about the paparazzi as the show went on.
The way we use them in the show?
No, outside of the show.
Oh, okay.
Like, and how things built and how things got
The culture of
successively more invasive.
Invasive.
the culture of our work environment changed year to year. The more famous Miley became, and the more famous the show became.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we were just making a TV. This episode, we were just making a TV.
Yeah,
show.
this was
that's
before
right.
we had aired, so it was literally
100%. Like,
yeah.
how would you know?
Yeah, at the time it was just like, oh, funny paparazzi bit.
Right.
Didn't understand that like, oh, this is like kind of a glimpse into your future, which sucks.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
It was bad.
So that was sort of it for me. What do we do right? What do we do wrong? What would we do different? Doug, what did you like about it? What's the thumbs up for this one?
I liked a lot about it. The things that stood out for me when I rewatched it, there was a scene where you and Billy are giving Miley shit for making the wrong decision, lying to her friend, being embarrassed about of her.
Yeah.
And without provocation from Miley, Lily shows up, and without Miley saying, "Hey, shut up," you just immediately switch and have her back.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where families comes first, right? Even though you disagree with her, even though you think she's making the wrong move, you are protecting her. And that moment remember, we're trying to establish a family here.
Yeah.
And we're trying to say what they're like. And that for me was like, oh, we did that right.
That was awesome.
We made this family what I want my family to be like.
Right.
And the second thing we did right, and I will very rarely give Adam Burnett credit for anything.
Adam Burnett was an executive at Disney. Usually there's a little bit of an adversarial relationship. They give notes, and the writers don't want to change things, and they go back and forth.
But very much
Adam did a good thing here.
Yeah, but very much like Rico, you can't hate someone that much unless you love them.
Exactly.
So he kept saying we need a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And I didn't agree with him. And I still don't agree. I still don't think the show
Didn't need it.
Right? We didn't need it.
Yeah.
But because he forced our hand and made us cast one, we ended up finding Moises.
Yeah.
And that, to me, was one of the big, huge wins of the show. That kid, I got to tell you.
He's so good.
Not only is he a great actor, but I love that kid as a human being.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is such a good kid.
What
and
a
even
great
now, he's
family.
a great... And if Adam hadn't forced us to make a decision that I don't think we really wanted to make, we never would have ended up with Moises. Your life would have been different. Our lives would have been different. And
I love all my kids equally, but I love Moises the most.
Right?
I
Right?
just think, I mean, and honestly too, like as a stepping out from the show, I think of all of the our cast members' acting careers, and people have gone on and done like incredible things. I think Moises' career is like maybe the most interesting because he's done such a wide, weird variety of independent movies and shows like Fallout, and he just plays so many different things where it would be really hard or really easy to be typecast as the same kind of guy all the time.
Right.
He plays a lot of different stuff.
And I think that's the reason you do a variety of things after a show like Hannah Montana is for that very reason, is that like pick the weirdest stuff, pick the weirdest shit that you can do.
Yeah.
So that way you don't get typecast after your Disney show, and you don't get, it's like, find the weird stuff.
But I will say, yes, exactly. But I will say beyond acting.
Yeah.
He is so talented, that kid.
Oh.
As a photographer, as a
Yes.
director. I mean, the kid is so talented.
Yeah.
So it goes even beyond acting. My admiration for him goes.
There's a weird thing that happens. Like, so I knew these kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm friends with these kids. I know their families. And then there is a little part of me that like becomes a fan of these kids.
Right.
Just like I'm so impressed with them creatively as artists, you know, whether it's acting or music for Miley or everything that Moises does. But you can't help but get a little like, you become part of their fandom.
Yeah, Emily too. Like,
no,
you
so
see
saying
the
Emily,
trajectory of
acting
her
standpoint,
career has been incredible.
What about you, Jason? What do we do right?
I think the whole B story is great, and the thing that's because I'm in it, obviously. No, but the B story in this is they're so quick. They're quick hitters. You come in, you get a little sight gag, you get out. I think it does a really good job of sort of busting up the pacing of the episode.
Yeah.
And I like these from the standpoint of like you let the A story and the emotional stuff like breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's so silly. I also think in general, this episode highlights for me the importance of the live audience.
Yes.
So it's not even just this, but by this time we were doing live audience shows, and things like the marshmallow bit that like we pointed out, those things worked because there was the pressure of having the audience there.
Right.
And so that was a huge win for us. I think Emily's amazing in this episode. Emily plays like 9 different beats in the, like different emotions, everything from being way over the top excited at the concert to when Miley says she doesn't know if she can bring anybody to the party and she's very deadpan. She's like, yeah, then ask her.
Ask her now.
Yeah, it's like, so she could have kept the same, pushy energy, but she like taking that step back was great. She actually plays a little embarrassed that she was being so embarrassing. You know what I mean? She's really, really hard on herself. Then she's also like hurt by she plays so many things that if you look back at the pilot, you wouldn't necessarily know that screechy little girl was like very deftly gonna give you like 7 different colors just like 5 episodes later. So I think she is incredible in it. I think her dance stuff is really cute.
So funny.
I remember her being like super confident and really good and just like ready to show that. I was always really nervous about anything music, dance, or singing related. So like that was so foreign to me. But
Emily works really, really hard. So I think that Emily was also working on those bits to come in prepared.
Yeah.
Like she was so prepared coming in for rehearsal. And I know that she worked on those things like to try and add whatever was on the page. She would add just that little bit more that she could in rehearsals bring it and get the laugh.
You can definitely tell that she had like honed her craft between the pilot and when we started getting into these episodes. For sure.
Yeah.
I also remember her totally like housing those chocolate covered strawberries. Oh my God. I remember at one point she like had them and she was like offering to like Mitch and Miley, and I'm like, you guys, there's a finite number of chocolate starlight. Like, we have to use these to shoot. Like, I was like, slow down.
Continuity.
Yeah. And then the last thing is Billy singing these little impromptu songs is like
absolutely agree.
one of the most charming parts of the whole show. When I have the blue mohawk and Nina that Nina gives me, he sings the song, I once knew a girl named Nina, and boy, she was a fine. So I gave my sweetie my golden locks, and I look like a bluebird's behind. A bluebird's behind, a bluebird's behind. I'm obviously a very good singer, but like the thing.
Apparently, Jason is not embarrassed to go for the singing and dancing like he was 20 years ago.
Well, nobody. I mean, like I'm an idiot, and who cares? But like I was surprised that the final cut involved him saying a bluebird's behind, like as if he's like giving us a visual of a bluebird's butthole. But then he does tell me that my head looks like a turtlet brush. Which I thought was very funny. So,
oh my god!
Yeah,
you know what, you guys? Honestly, there's nothing that I like could really add that we haven't said already. Just the bits were funny.
Yeah.
Finding the levels. It really, this is when we started to hit our stride.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was a lot there that was, especially again, Allison Brie coming in, overplaying that part from the beginning, and then just the master turn that she did when she's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why do you
there was some potential there. We saw some potential.
there was a little bit of potential.
You know, I'd just like to say you're welcome,
So,
Allison Brie.
Where did we mess up? What was poopy about this episode?
Doopy doopies.
Well, from a writing perspective, and this is, it's a personal thing because, as a writer, I think we protected Miley's character too much in this episode. She knew from the beginning what she was doing was wrong. And she felt guilty about it. She was going to tell her friend the truth. And then for some reason, she got all the way up to the edge and then backed off. And I don't know why she backed off.
Yeah.
She went to the party, felt so guilty at the party because she was knew she was doing the wrong thing that it ruined the party for her. And then she admitted her failure. For me, I thought that we should have had her make an honest mistake, be selfish, go to the party, exclude her friend, and then learn that was wrong, as opposed to knowing it was wrong from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think...
And so that her journey comes to a place where she's grown and changed. Remember, we're trying to create episodes here where we have that base emotional scene at the end, and I thought this one felt flat because she wasn't admitting a mistake. She was going, I knew all along.
Yeah, I think if you look at if the episode is lying is bad, okay, then it doesn't work.
Correct.
Right? But if the episode is about sometimes you have to have the uncomfortable conversation with somebody you love, and you have to rip the Band-Aid off, and it's for the best. Then she does learn a lesson. Whereas she thought she could dance around it by lying or whatever, even though she knew that was wrong. But then in the end, she realized, okay, I just got to say it. You were embarrassing. And then, so you have a reaction to this too, right? Like that didn't work. The order of it.
I thought that it was like she should have. There were just things, to your point. There were just things where it was like, so she just keeps lying and lying and lying and lying
and she
lying.
knows it's wrong.
And she knows that the lying is wrong. And I mean, it is nice to see that she felt guilty and was like, there's no way I can enjoy this party because I've lied to my friend. And then my friend calls me and I'm at this party, which was also, that to me felt like a false beat too, because she was already upset.
Yeah.
That she was like, if the party was in full swing and she was in the party and then her friend calls, then the guilt of that could have propelled her
But
out.
you also had a reaction to like the order, like Lily's reaction to like when she finds out at the end.
My thing was like, it was, hey, I've lied to you, and Miley is. There was like such a false, I'm sorry I lied. There was no real kind of genuine, I'm sorry I lied to you about all of these things. It was like, you do all of these things. You spit food out of your mouth. You follow people into the bathroom. And Lily's reaction is, I'm such a dork. Instead of being like, well, why the hell didn't you tell me this from the beginning?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me all? And I realize from a story standpoint, well, that would have been but it's also her reaction being, why you could have just, oh my God, I do that?
Yeah, get mad at the lie. And then once that's, which is not really the purpose of this episode we've established, then, okay, now here's the real truth of the situation. You're
Correct.
awkward. Oh my God, I'm awkward.
Yes.
And then having that like, hey, we should have just addressed this from the beginning, I think is probably better construction.
Well, and which goes to my point of it was muddy.
Yeah.
It was
Yes,
just
it
muddy.
was
We
muddy.
weren't as clear as we could have been with the story we wanted to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what we did
Right.
wrong.
Yeah. So what would we do? Like little tweaks. What would we do different?
I would clean that story bit up.
Yeah, yeah.
But more importantly, when we lost Jesse McCartney,
Yeah.
we lost the big drive as to why why does it matter that she's so embarrassed? We added Tracy, right? So that she didn't want to be embarrassed in front of her friend Tracy.
Yeah.
But I don't think we established that relationship enough. Why does Hannah like Tracy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Why
She's
does she
pretty
care?
unlikable in the
Yeah,
beginning.
and why
Yeah.
does she care what Tracy thinks of her best friend Lola? So I would have worked harder to establish that, because that's sort of the linchpin of the whole episode is don't embarrass me in front of my Hollywood friends. Well,
Right.
why is Tracy so important to you? So I would have established it differently.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we could have done better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like if they mention at the end, Miley mentions, hey, you blew that snot rocket, and I didn't say anything, and so they
Right.
obviously like are close enough that like they're sort of secret keepers for each other in a way. Not enough that Tracy knows that she's Hannah, you know, but that there is like there has to be some sort of connection there. But it comes so late in the episode, it would have been nice to front load it with
Right,
a little
yeah.
bit of why do we like this girl?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also there could have been a moment where Hannah doesn't recognize how embarrassing Lola is
Yeah.
until somebody points it out to her. Right? Like she's
Right.
just so lovable. You know, when
Yeah.
your friend is just so lovable and you
Right.
love all their quirks about them, and it's not until somebody if you weren't the cool kid in your school, like wanting to be a cool kid in your school I can only speak for myself, but that was such a huge, like, I wanted that so badly. I wanted to be one of the cool kids. And I felt like that to me is a very real part. So like, but I didn't understand that Tracy was one of the cool kids because it's
Yeah.
Hannah, right? Hannah is the cool kid and
Exactly.
Tracy is a hanger-on, right?
Exactly.
In a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was it. But the other thing I would have done is just like there is no way a parent would let their 13-year-old child
In a million
go
years.
to
Yeah, come on.
and I don't know what the solve there was, except that Billy going with her, and there could have been a nice moment with Billy saying, "But you told Lily it was canceled."
Yeah.
So I mean, that was just
I think that's such a tough thing to navigate because you want like sometimes the logic police will strip all the fun out of a kid's show.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you just sort of like let some stuff happen, and the fact that she is so like famous and whatever that like the rules are a little bit different for her. But like there's sometimes we get a little. Like,
and
a
in
little
real life, we
wishy-washy.
bring Roxy in later, which
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that would have solved that, you know? Anyway.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up with a couple, actually just one audience question this time because
Oh.
the answer's a little involved, I think.
Okay.
So Chantel.mole, we'll put it on the screen. You guys will see. How did a typical day look on set, and how late would you be there? And how many hours would you work? So, Shan, do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown
Yeah.
of like what a week would look like on the show?
Yeah, so a typical week on the show is we would do a table read, which is where you get the first draft of the script, like which Doug was talking about earlier, and you would read through it
on Monday.
On a Monday, and then we would get network notes to find out what needed to be punched or cut or anything or changed. And
Punch means make funny, make more
funnier.
funny.
And then, but also in the meantime, we would go on stage and rehearse.
Yeah.
And sometimes the set would be available, but oftentimes it was just a very light
Yeah.
touch on the day to like just kind of work on the things that we knew weren't going to change very much.
Yeah.
And then the next day we get overnight. You would get a new draft of
Because
of
the
this-
writers would be there till midnight or 2 in the morning
Well,
working
write
on the
better.
script.
Write
Write a
more
better script.
jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, remember, scripts are meant to be heard,
Yeah.
not read. Read on the page. So sometimes you don't know if a joke is going to work.
You
until
never
it
knew
comes
when
out of-
Miley was going to bring that secret sauce and like make something just really funny that was
100%.
like a straight line, but actually ended up
could
being really funny.
make that funny turn. But then Tuesday, so overnight we get a new draft. We'd rehearse that, all of the things in there, and then have a run through of the whole script, top to bottom, in order, in front of the producers, Doug, the writers, and then after that, you would go back to the room, figure out what worked, what didn't
Be
work.
there till 2 in the morning.
Be there till 2 in the morning.
Write
Make the
better
changes.
jokes.
Then Wednesday, get a new draft.
Yep.
And this is like as close to final as it's going to
Yep.
probably be. And then rehearse everything from the day before. We would also get acting notes to give down on the stage, like you didn't deliver that line properly, Jason.
I got that note a lot.
Yep. Or whatever. And so we would make sure that we incorporated those acting notes into there. And then get a new draft.
Yeah.
This is the shooting draft
Yep.
that we would get. And because this is a kids show, we had 2 days of shooting.
Yeah.
We would shoot on a Thursday and a Friday typically. Thursday, we would take all of the shooting stuff that was the most difficult.
Yeah.
Anything that had a big bit in it. Like, for example, the bald caps that you and Moises wore.
Those
And-
take an hour to put on.
Yeah,
So you're only in it for one scene. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you like make sure that it's production friendly so that also too that you're working on kid time.
Yeah.
And then whenever it was a Hannah Miley, splitting that time, I think you guys probably had a mandate to make sure that it was 50-50 and production friendly.
We had Ron, right?
Yeah.
Who
Ron was our first assistant
AD.
director.
and he would come to us with this Rubik's Cube beautiful mind puzzle of trying to figure out how, because he would have everything, like how much is a costume change, cost in terms of time, how much is the wig, and he would sort of have to do this math problem every week to make sure we had enough time on Thursday to shoot everything, and then we shot him on Fridays. We only shot for like 2 or 3 hours in front of an audience.
Yeah, like
so,
3 hours
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
so it was this crazy, beautiful mind math problem he had to work out every week. And he would come to us going, what do you think? And then we would try to move stuff around going, it's better if this is in front of the audience or we could do that.
Right.
But most often it was just whatever he came up with was the only way to make it work.
Yeah, 100%. And you would get those things. Like you could never shoot most of the time.
Right.
You could never shoot Hannah and Miley
On the same day, no.
ever, because the makeup was everything was so different.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we would shoot in the morning before we had an audience show, but those had to be very rare because of the kid time. And
You might be able to get 1 or 2 scenes or like one messy bit or something before, but mostly it was the pre-tape on Thursday and then the live audience show on Friday.
Exactly. And you would come in and rehearse on Friday, like come in late. We would usually
We would
come in a
camera
lot
block.
later.
We'd show the
Right.
camera operators like what the scenes we were going to do for the live show, so they would sort of work in concert with us and the stand-ins to just make sure that once the live audience was there, we could just like rip through the scenes and like be ready to go.
And then we had to be out at a very specific time. Usually it was 8:30 at night. We had to be done by that time. And Ron always made it work.
Yeah.
Like Ron always
Every
made it
single
work
time.
every single time. And then just as a shout out to our editors, Thursday into Friday, whatever we shot on Thursday, our editor had to assemble a rough cut, because just like we would do a run through in order, we would show the episode in order. So every time it would be like whatever we would shoot the live scenes, and anything in between we would show those parts of the episode that the
so that way
editor
the
put
audience would
together.
get a chance to see the entire episode as a whole story.
Right.
And actually, there's somebody in the audience. There's an audience warm-up guy who will facilitate that, keep the audience entertained, like between scenes and stuff. And at some point, we'll bring our regular guy, Mr. Bill Sindelar, in to
Bill Sindelar
to do an
one of
episode
the
because he's super funny and
best,
good
the
dude.
best warm-up guys.
best.
So great.
Yeah. And as far as like the amount of time, like Mondays, writers' schedules, they have the worst of all worlds for their. But like for us, we would table read and we were probably out by 2 PM. Like very, very easy. Tuesdays we would start at 9 or whatever, and then we have a run through at 3, and we would leave after the run through. Same thing on Wednesday. Thursday could be about a 12-hour day, and then Friday with the live audience, depending on if you were shooting in the morning, could be like a 12-hour day, depending. But everybody says the children's television is like probably the best schedule that you can have in TV.
Children's multicam.
Children's multicam is.
But I will say this, for those aspiring young actors or people who want their children to become, it is a grind.
Yeah, it is.
Because also, if we had a 9 o'clock rehearsal call, Miley and Emily were coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning in order to get 2 hours of school and also bank stuff so that we could like dip into that. And we'll explain banking another time. But it's like it's a grind. It is not what you see
For the kid, not for me. It was easy. I didn't have school, so it was a great schedule.
For all those times you went to school. Pretend.
So let's put a bow tie on this. Dougie, what was our title again?
Our title was "Would you like some Brie with that?"
Because of the lovely Allison Brie, and it was yes, man, please.
Always, yes.
What do you have for your
So this is what I would say.
Yeah.
This was about being embarrassed by a friend and figuring out how do you deal with that? Have you ever had to tell a friend something uncomfortable that they did was really, really embarrassing?
I had a very quick one. I worked on a show a couple of years ago, and we were shooting outside a lot in summer, and there was one of my friends and fellow coworkers who, for whatever reason, had decided deodorant wasn't necessarily their thing. So they were little stinky. And that was a very uncomfortable pull my friend aside and say, hey, it's not us, it's you. You should probably put some deodorant. So, so I've had a few of those
rough.
moments.
That's
it was a rough one.
I have been friends with the same group of guys since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
To a man, I think for the last 45 years, they will all say the same thing, which is, oh no, Doug, you're Lola. I was the other side of that. I'm the one that is always doing something stupid, not necessarily not wearing deodorant, but saying something stupid or doing something stupid or being the embarrassing one. So I'm on the other side of that story.
You are the receptor. You're the receiver.
I was the one who they all constantly said, Can you not say that? Can you not do that? So
that tracks.
I will say I have been on both sides. I have been the one receiving the embarrassing information, which is always uncomfortable to receive that kind of information. But I am also the kind of friend that will tell you when you have something in your teeth, that will tell you that your fly is down, that will tell you have a booger in your nose. Like, I have learned that.
I have all those things going on right now.
Right now. But I will tell you if those things are happening, because if I was walking around with any of those things, I would want somebody to tell me.
You're a good friend.
Well,
You're a good friend. I think that's it. I think we did it. Thanks so much for hanging out with us for another episode. We really, really do appreciate you. If you want to watch the pod, make sure to subscribe to Best of Both Our Worlds YouTube channel. It helps us a ton if you like, comment, ring the bell, subscribe, share it with a friend, all that stuff. We would love to make 1 million of these, so please support in any way that you can. Follow the show on Instagram at Best of Both Our Worlds Podcast, on TikTok at Best of Both Our Worlds, and on X at Babow Podcast. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So this has been Best of Both Our Worlds, the official, unofficial Hannah Montana podcast, created and hosted by Jason Earles, Douglas Danger Lieblein, and Shannon Flynn. Executive producer Renee Colvert, produced and edited by Jeffrey Murphy, recorded at Quest Pacifica, original music by the immensely talented Joe Serafini, social media strategy by Shelby Stahl and Beloved Social. And I believe, Shannon, you're the one that gets to take us out today.
I'm so
honored. Hit me.
And with that, we say, good day, Daddy. I say good day. Woo! Woo! Woo!
I love it.
And
It's
see.
the best of both